All right, 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On tonight's show, I have a returning guest. Now she is my favorite guest. Her name is Roberta Glass. She runs the True Crime Report on YouTube and as a podcast. So go check that out. We've done many shows. Particularly our most recent show was the show we did after Epstein was found mysteriously dead at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. And I kind of came up with this idea, looking through some of the Epstein material. I remembered a picture of Epstein and Woody Allen. It was taken in 2013 with Soon-Yi Previn, his new wife, which used to be his daughter or stepdaughter, if I remember correctly. But I thought maybe it was an avenue of inquiry and discussion to look into and kind of look at all these people who surrounded Jeffrey Epstein. Woody Allen is one of them. He was in his Epstein's Black Book and seen at dinners at his mansion or Les Wexner's mansion up on the Upper East Side in Manhattan. And James Stewart was inside of Epstein's house. He saw a picture of Epstein and Woody Allen. So I'm just delighted that Roberta has taken time out of her day to talk about this subject. She has a lot of information, and I'm just glad you're here. Roberta, are you there?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So for people who don't know you, maybe this is a first time or something, can you talk a little bit about your background, your interest in true crime, and then we can just kind of go in maybe from the very beginning of the allegations against Woody Allen and his very Byzantine familial relationships.
I've always been interested in true crime. I grew up in Pennsylvania. My father was a screenwriter, so I grew up kind of like on the peripheries of Hollywood a little bit, dealing with that. And then I got really interested in true crime kind of after a big life change and or experience, and that kind of changed my perception. And it started with looking into the West Memphis 3 case and being very interested in that everything I thought I knew about that case was wrong. Everything I believed about that case was wrong. And I was very interested in the PR around the case. So and then Serial came, and I was enraged by that. I was enraged that the victim was hardly mentioned and so diminished. And so I made a few videos, and that became my podcast. So in my podcast, I talk about PR, innocence fraud, and also I've been fortunate enough to follow the NXIVM case from going to the hearings, going to the trial. And I did go to, and also an Epstein-related hearing. So as much as I can, I live in New York, as much as I can go to court. I also work. I do. And I think I really encourage anyone who's interested in going to court to do it. It's fascinating. You learn a lot. And that's the number one question I get asked about the NXIVM trial is how I got in. And I don't think people are aware that we have open courts here in America. So,
well, yeah, those were great. Yeah, we did a show about that, one of the Epstein cases, and you just recently had a guest who had firsthand experience in the NXIVM matter too. She just published a book, so I suggest people go check that out.
Tony Natale.
Yeah, so that was a very interesting discussion. But what do you know about Woody Allen? Do you want to start with the original allegations or how they cropped up, or can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I have, the Woody Allen allegations popped up, in August of 1992. First, what happened was the Soon-Yi thing blew up. Right?
Right, gotcha.
So a couple months before that, Allen was caught by Mia via some nude pictures he had taken of, they were never married. So they were together about 13 years, Woody Allen and Mia Farrow. Mm-hmm. And Mia Farrow is a serial, she has kids, biological kids of her own with Andre Previn, and then later Woody Allen. But she also adopted many, many, many kids.
Right. So she had, I think she
And
had a total of 13 at a certain point, many of them from different ethnicities, right? That sound right?
actually, to prepare for this interview, William Ramsey, I made a chart of all
Okay.
her kids.
Let's go through that.
And she had 14. She's had
Wow.
14 kids,
Wow.
three of whom have died.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that.
if you try to adopt, say, cats had a really long lifespan, if you had tried to adopt this many cats from a shelter,
They would
they
call
would
the
think you were a lunatic,
lunatic. Yeah.
or you'd be called a hoarder. But somehow, if you're famous and you have a lot of money, you're Mother Teresa for adopting all these kids. I mean, I think Angelina Jolie kind of, had an interesting parallel to Mia Farrow. They were both UNICEF ambassadors, and they both adopted a ton of kids
Right. From
and broke up
multi-ethnic.
marriages too. They seem
Right.
to be kind of cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, it's weird. And even
Yeah.
her marriage to Woody or her relationship with Woody was very peculiar as well.
Very peculiar. And so um, Woody Allen was visiting Mia Farrow in her country house in Connecticut. He was caught by the nanny putting his head on his daughter Dylan's lap. Later, the nanny noticed that Dylan had no underwear on, and there was a time when they were both missing. Now, Woody Allen says he was in the bathroom, but what Dylan has said about it is that she was molested in the attic while she was playing with her toy trains.
Right, but one of the aspects of what Woody Allen's face in her lap is that his face was facing towards her. So it was a very strange and disturbing position that he was in, according to observers. So,
Right. And when you read the court records, what's so interesting is that this Woody Allen's inappropriate relationship with his daughter, Dylan, had caused problems in his relationship with Mia way before this, where she was saying, he was reading to her in his underwear, making her suck his thumb, and sort of focused on her to the exclusion of all the other children.
and even
So,
right, and even before the event in Connecticut, people knew not to leave Woody alone with Dylan. Right? Do you remember that part? So that was part of the
right.
thing. So, yeah.
But one of the more disturbing things about when you go through the records is that Mia Farrow wants another kid. And it seems like, for me, it's some kind of sickness where she feels so empty inside. She has to have like another kid, And Woody Allen is not really up for her adopting another kid. But he's afraid that she will take away his time with Dylan if he doesn't let her have another kid. So you can see her knowing that the relationship is something really wrong about the relationship that Woody Allen has with her daughter, yet she's using Dylan as kind of like a negotiating tool to get what she wants,
Wow.
which is another kid. This whole Woody Allen thing is very tribal. So if you believe Dylan, you usually love Mia Farrow or think she's great, And if you believe Woody Allen and that he did nothing wrong, then you usually hate Mia Farrow. I come from the unpopular position where I think both are really disturbed people
Yeah.
and not fit to be parents. And I always joke with you and I say, like, people from my experience, people who are Hollywood people or creative people, I would make a law and say they shouldn't have kids. I mean, it's a joke, but there is some truth in it, in that if you're a creative person, you need so much, usually have some kind of broken part of you that your children end up nurturing you, and that's what you're looking for in your child, and you don't have you don't have that nurturing instinct or interest even. So, that's some of the, elements at play is that, you know, I think Mia Farrow's really disturbed and Woody Allen's really disturbed. And I have some, personal experience, or I guess my father, knew Woody Allen very well during a period that my father was a journalist and they would go to lunch together a lot. And his advice to my dad was that class is for your friends and family, which I think is so telling. I don't think he took his own advice. And I'm very familiar with Mia Farrow via, I was very close with Dory Previn, and she was kind of a mentor to me. And Mia Farrow obviously stole Andre Previn from Dory Previn. She was married.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Do you know that whole story? And so it comes into play. Am I talking too much?
No, you're doing great. Please continue.
Okay. So it comes into play because Woody Allen, okay, what happened with Dory, to go backwards in time before she even met Woody Allen, is that when Mia Farrow was maybe 22 or 23, she met Andre Previn. And even before she met him, the way Dory Previn told me the story was that Andre brought her a picture of Mia Farrow where she was sitting on kind of a stool and her legs were crossed in an A. And Dory took this later to mean that the A stood for adultery, and this picture was some kind of omen of what was coming. And when they finally met Mia Farrow, she went up to Dory and Andre and said, "Everyone I know loves you. Everyone I know loves everyone I love loves you both." That's what she said to them. So they became really close. When Mia became pregnant with twins from Andre, and Dory Previn found out, she had a breakdown. And she's written about it, and it really changed. Up to then, she was writing songs. She wrote Ballet of the Dolls. She wrote kind of show tunes, and then she wrote kind of more personal things. How this comes into play is that she wrote a song about Mia Farrow stealing her husband called Beware of Young Girls. And on that album is a song called With My Daddy in the Attic. And it was about Dory's experience of being locked by her shell-shocked father in the attic for, I think it was a long time, like
wow,
years. I'm not laughing about it, but it was a really, traumatic thing. She talked about what it was like. He had a shotgun, he was very paranoid, and she wrote a song about it. So Woody Allen, when he said these charges against me, that they happened in the attic, and part of the lyrics are, he plays his clarinet when I despair. Well, Woody Allen plays the clarinet. So Woody Allen publicly came out and said, these allegations against me are bogus because Mia Farrow went and she picked out this sort of ideas from this album of Dory Previn's song, and she inserted them into a story, and she forced them into Dylan's mouth.
Do you know what the difference in age was between Mia Farrow and Andre Previn? For people who don't know, Andre Previn was a composer for a lot of Hollywood movies, and so I'm sorry, but do you remember the age difference?
Yeah, he was 40 when they got together.
Do you remember how old she was?
And she was 22 or 23.
Oh, wow, okay. So she integrated herself into their lives and basically took it. Did you know that her past goes all the way with the Beatles, and that she was with the Beatles in India? And I think the story of one of the Beatles songs is about her being sexually predated upon by one of the gurus. Do you ever hear that story?
I know Dear Prudence, I thought, was about her sister. Am I right?
No, that might be it, but the other one was it Sexy Sadie? Or one of these was based upon their guru experiences in India. So she has, that whole family really, from all the way back then to the present, has this shadow or this dark cloud of sexual abuse from very early all the way to really to the present, if you include Satchel Ronan O'Sullivan Farrow, who's just publishing a book called Catch and Kill about sexual predation. So that's getting a lot of news. I think it's out or coming out.
And her brother, right? And her brother is in jail for abusing, sexually abusing two boys.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. What's that story?
I don't know. I think it was just recently, within the past 5 years, and I know one boy was 6, and I forget the age of the other one.
Wow, gotcha.
So
yeah, and so then Ronan O'Farrell publishes the MIT Media Lab just like last month about Epstein. So there is this whole nexus or flowchart of Mia Farrow, Woody Allen, Ronan Farrow, Epstein, all kind of their lives intersecting, bisecting, whatever. So all the way to the present. But so going back to the original Dylan abuse stories, that wasn't the only element of abuse that was talked about her. I think somebody also said that. And the other thing about Woody Allen is that he would dote on her to the exclusion of the other children. But there were also things of like touching while she was going up ladders, or like really just generally creepy. And do you recollect any other stories like that?
Yeah, I remember the ladder story is the other story, and the reading story are the two examples I remember. But he showed no interest in the children. He didn't, and that was also mentioned in the report by the judge's decision about the custody hearing. And he said that he didn't know the kids' friends, he didn't know their dentist, he didn't know and.
Right, they didn't live together either. They lived in separate apartments.
Separate apartments, but I mean, you can live in separate apartments and still be active or familiar. I mean, he wouldn't even speak to their kids. Right. I mean, he just had no interest in them.
Right. So yeah, it's just very strange. So
even when he talks about, he never says I abused my daughter. He says, I'm being accused of being a child molester. It's just very different. He rarely says my daughter or, my kids, He sees them as the other. And he's incredibly self-involved human being. I mean, he's got a million phobias, a million doctors. He's a hypochondriac. I mean, all those things, are true about him.
Right. And they're reflected in his earlier films. I don't know about the most recent ones. Do you recollect the whole story about the Connecticut State Police and the involvement of the New Haven doctors, the Yale New Haven team? Do you recollect any of those details?
Yeah. Well, originally they brought Dylan to when Dylan came out with these allegations, she was brought to her pediatrician. The pediatrician called the police. The police referred her to the child sexual abuse clinic of Yale New Haven, and they did many interviews with her, and they determined that she was not sexually abused, and that she was perhaps even coached during, there's a videotape that Mia Farrow made, and the nannies also testified that Mia Farrow had, two nannies also testified that Mia Farrow had coached her doing this tape. Now, that to me, that doesn't mean she necessarily wasn't abused, but I just kind of see Mia as a control freak, and I can see her wanting to control the narrative in that way. But right. So to go on, they determined that she wasn't abused. However, the New Haven police did a 14-month investigation, and they decided that Woody Allen was guilty. And part of one of the reasons that they decided Woody Allen was guilty is when they asked him did he ever go into the attic? He said, I'm claustrophobic. I would never go in there. And then they found a hair of Woody Allen's on a painting. And when they presented Woody Allen with that evidence, he said, oh, well, maybe I poked my head in once or twice.
So yeah,
So,
and
which
then
I
he
find
he
incredibly
refused to
damning.
cooperate too. I think if I
Yeah,
remember,
refused to cooperate, refused to take a lie detector test. Instead, took a lie detector test from his own team, you know, which is basically
right,
pretty much
right,
useless. Yeah.
always right. It's for PR. It's for PR purposes.
PR,
No
right,
question.
exactly. And,
Well,
and he did an aggressive PR campaign saying this is all revenge for Sun Yi. But if you go back to the Sun Yi story, the fact that he says, I mean, I think what he's saying is, in the Sun Yi thing, is that he calls it, the interview I saw, he calls it a controversial move. Now, what he's really saying is, what I heard is that I wasn't committing incest. It may be not the norm, but there's nothing wrong with it because I never really saw her as my daughter. But it's so insensitive to how Sun Yi was introduced to Woody Allen as a father figure type. And I was reflecting back in my own life at times when, I think it's happened to every woman I know. Someone inappropriately sexualizes you or hits on you that has, either a kind of family represented relationship or a relationship of trust, like a teacher, that it really doesn't matter that that they're not related or that he didn't legally adopt her.
right.
I just think it really represents a kind of worldview that if I want something, I get it. I don't care what the world thinks. I don't care how much I damage someone, even really, a child. I mean, he was calling her summer camp. Do you know about this?
No, tell that story, please.
So before, right after, this all came out, Sun Yi had a job as a camp counselor, and she had to leave, or I don't know if she was asked to leave or she left herself, but they said, we're so sorry, Sun Yi, the camp people said to Mia, we're so sorry Sun Yi had to leave, but she was so preoccupied with these constant phone calls from Mr. Simon, which of course was Woody Allen,
Wow.
that she had to leave. She couldn't be a camp counselor. Now, if you're in, I don't even know, I mean, if you're in, how old was Woody Allen at this point in his,
I think
what?
57. So she and Sun Yi was a little, maybe over 18 or something like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
20. I know.
20. Yeah. So there's a
If you're
40-year
a
difference.
camp,
Yeah.
if your future bride or your love interest is a camp counselor and you're calling the summer camp payphone constantly to talk to her, I mean, doesn't that just ring the alarm bells that there's something wrong?
Yes, I would say 100% wrong. Yes. And I mean, it's still gone on. I mean, so you had these things going on. He's still married to Sun Yi, or I think they've been married for 17 years, so they were together. But it's just an incredible, yeah. I mean, it's really
Right. And then right after all this happened with Sun Yi, Mia Farrow it said, well, what she told the press was that all the children in the family spontaneously decided to change their names, which I think is the most abusive thing practically ever, to take away, someone's identity. And I will never forget what Dory Previn said to me about it, which is now the kids have nothing, meaning not even their name.
wow.
And you can see with Dylan, she's changed her name multiple times. So has Ronan.
Right.
His
Ronan's original
originally
name
named
is Satchel. Right.
Right, but
Satchel.
he also had, actually, I will go back to my, my notes. He also had a bunch of other names in between there.
I didn't know that.
Harmon was one before he changed it, and I think there was another one.
And
in there too.
and the court documents say that he was in therapy
Oh,
as well.
Seamus. Sorry,
Seamus,
Seamus was
wow.
another one of his names.
Yeah, so he has a serious identity problem. He doesn't really look like Woody Allen, no offense, but there's been speculation that Woody Allen is not his dad. Have you heard that?
I have heard that. I'm a big Sinatra fan, but I mean, the way I see it is that, Woody Allen's not an attractive guy. Mia Farrow is very pretty. Ugly people can have great looking kids. That IQ really, to me, is the thing that makes me think he's Woody Allen's kid.
Right.
Is that high IQ? I love Frank Sinatra, but that is not Frank Sinatra. That is Woody Allen graduating, Bard college at 15. That is Woody Allen's intellect. Yeah. And the Sinatra family has come out and said that Ronan is not Sinatra's kid. Frank Sinatra had a vasectomy. He couldn't be. And I think the fact that Mia Farrow floated that possibility is really telling to what a nutty person she is. And to give you another clue as to how crazy Mia Farrow is, Dory Previn, who had serious mental problems, multiple breakdowns, very open about it. This is not a secret. Kind of made even a career out of being, crazy. Even though when I knew her, she was pretty sane. Andre said to her, they stayed friends their whole life. Being married to you, you were nowhere near as crazy as Mia Farrow.
Wow.
So I will pass that. That will give you an idea.
Wow. So, but look at Ronan's worldview and look at what he chose to focus on. He was a Rhodes Scholar, too. Didn't he? What law school did he go to? I forgot. Was it NYU?
I don't know.
I think he's a law school graduate and passed the bar. He just didn't practice law, but very intelligent, and his book is coming out. But look at his worldview after growing up in that environment. Almost all his focus has been on, sexual abuse, it seems like. Or it's more famous writings.
Yeah, very much so. Very important work on Harvey Weinstein.
Yep. Weinstein, a little bit of Epstein. So Moonves, Schneiderman. I think he broke all those stories, and basically he was part of really the Me Too movement, even though he's male, right? So he was definitely on the side of exposing all these sex abusers. So you'd see that. I would say that you'd have to sit down and talk to him, but the psychological.
And didn't he have a very funny tweet about Woody Allen?
Yes. So
on Father's Day.
Oh, I don't know about that tweet, but I do know that the kind of allegations of Woody Allen have kind of died away and then peaked again. But there was something where Woody Allen was the recipient of the Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014, and then he and his mom both tweeted something, which is, I think he said, "Missed the Woody Allen tribute. Did they put the part where a woman publicly confirmed he molested her at age 7 before or after Annie Hall?" And then Mia said, right. "A woman has publicly detailed Woody Allen's molestation of her at age 7. Golden Globe tribute showed contempt for her and all abuse survivors." Those are both January 13th, 2014. So what was the tweet that you recollect? You remember that one?
I could look it up. It's like he did a very funny twist on how they're related via, it was just a funny twist on like Father's Day, otherwise known as whatever, because he's married to his sister,
Oh,
I can't remember. I can't remember now, but it was funny. It's just sort of like, it's just interesting. Also, Moses wrote a really, has gone on the Woody Allen camp and said it's all untrue. The attic was packed with stuff. It could never have happened, and talked about, how awful Mia Farrow was. It's just, interesting the way it plays out in the public, arena.
Yeah, it's a kind of ugly, ongoing thing. This was a conclusion from the judge in 1992. Conclusion, Woody Allen. Mr. Allen has demonstrated no parenting skills that would qualify him as an adequate custodian for Moses, Dylan, or Satchel. That's a pretty brutal statement in 1992. Sorry.
And did you see the interview with Woody Allen where he says, it doesn't matter if people on the street see me and say there's a child molester?
Woody Allen said that?
Yeah, he
No,
said
I
that in
didn't
the
know that.
interview in 90, right around the time, 92, 93. He said it doesn't bother me at all. And then they said, well, what happens if it ruins your career? Oh, that doesn't bother me at all. Well, now isn't he suing Amazon for pulling his work?
Yes, I
So it
think
does
something.
seem to
Yeah,
bother him.
yeah. I think it's
When
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I remember that.
and,
So it's still, and
and
then sorry, continue.
I also find it very interesting the young women he's dated, inappropriately young women who've come out and kind of done his bidding and said, "Oh, it was a mutual love relationship. It was a real relationship. It wasn't abusive." I find
Interesting.
that
Do you know
very interesting.
which women said that?
There's one now. Of course, I'm forgetting their names. I'm so sorry.
Was it?
Do you,
It was. It wasn't Scarlett Johansson, was it?
no,
Because she's like one of Woody Allen's defenders, if I remember correctly.
there's one that it seems like who just came out recently, who
Oh
he
yeah, no,
obviously based Manhattan on.
right. Wasn't there some girl who was Epstein's girlfriend for a while, and also it was a long term lover of Woody Allen. She was of German extraction. Did you ever hear that story? So she's still around. So that's another nexus point between Woody Allen and Jeffrey Epstein.
I didn't hear the
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein. I read a little piece about a woman he dated right before he made Manhattan, and he said that, she was so young that he wouldn't introduce her to any of his friends. I think she was
16 was
was
it?
she 16?
Was her name
Something like
Christina
that.
Christina Engelhart? Does that sound familiar?
Yes,
So that was
that's what
her.
it
So
is.
she's 16. She's in the 70s. She's his mistress, and then she goes on to work for Epstein in Epstein's Manhattan mansion. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Yeah. So
I
she
can't believe it. And
and
did you know who Mia Farrow's first lawyer was
no, I'm afraid
for all this?
Alan.
Alan Dershowitz.
Yeah, boy. See, it's just incredible. It's incredible. They all overlap. So Christina Englehart's actually around. I think that Ed Opperman's talked to her, so I'm sure she has some
Hmm.
very interesting stories to say.
Yeah, and what is it about, people who say, well, if he's interested in young girls like 20, 19, 18, 17, he can't be interested in a 7-year-old.
Well, I don't believe
What
that.
is, what is up with that
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
defense?
understand that rationale. I mean, somebody who's 16 to a 57-year-old man, that isn't even, that's not like a 10-year difference. That's an extraordinary difference in power, understanding, experience in the world. Give me a break. I mean,
Yeah,
that,
I'm very interested in I don't know if I would want to call them Woody Allen apologists, or if it's that the women are convincing themselves that it's a kind of that it wasn't, I had just as much agency, I had just as much power. It was a kind of equal, power
equal benefit.
relationship, when it's so obvious by the details of what she said. He would send a car for her, send her home in a car, hide her in her apartment, in his apartment.
Wow. So just recently, actually, I'm looking this up. Scarlett Johansson trashed by Woody Allen's daughter Dylan Farrow for defending director. That's from September 5th, 2019. So it's still going on, really. They're still
Hmm.
going around.
Yeah, and it's just unbelievable.
It's
I
unbelievable.
just can't imagine two really worse parents, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think I would call him a parent, even. I don't think he would either. And I don't understand, right before this, if he's having problems with Dylan, why Mia Farrow is, writing glowing recommendations of what a great father he's going to be, and having him adopt, you know, Moses and Dylan.
Yeah, it's very strange.
It's a very weird thing. And then, do you remember that part where they wrote a document where it says, if I die, this is for Woody. If you know, oh, if I can't, if she dies before me, I won't adopt the kids. Is that what it was? And then he said, oh, I won't, if Mia dies, I won't try to adopt these kids. And then he wrote a secret document and said, I just signed this under duress.
Interesting. I did not know that. I didn't come across that in my research. That's disturbing.
Yeah, very disturbing.
That's just so weird. And the thing is these relationships, now that you can tie Epstein to Alan, you got to kind of go back and look through and see where they've been, whether Alan went down to the Caribbean, whether he was in New Mexico. What else is going on? There's a lot of other questions. At least for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are at 35 minutes. It's almost 5 my time. Is there anything that you would like to add? I thought we covered that very well. Anything I missed? Anything you want to promote?
Anything I want to promote?
Other than your podcast?
Just my podcast is on iTunes, Google Play, almost any platform you can think of. It's there. YouTube, Roberta Glass True Crime Report. I have a Facebook group. Right. I'm on Twitter. I'm around. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, it's Roberta Glass of the True Crime Podcast and True Crime Report. Thank you so much for that information on Woody Allen. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we're good.